Hey, Ecom Masters, welcome to the show. My name is Mike Weiss, Chief Community Officer at Dropified, and as a thank you for tuning in to the e-commerce mastery show, we've put together a special podcast-only e-commerce training just for you. Now, in it, you're going to learn the ins and outs of how to set up your own brand of products where you can literally put your own labels, brands, logos, and messaging over top of top-selling, in-demand, high-quality, high-profit products that are exclusive to supplements, CBD, skincare, and pet products. And here's the key: no minimum order quantities, no upfront inventory costs. And I'm going to show you how to do this in literally minutes. Now, guys, we refined these principles over the course of 5 years with working with over 100,000 of our own e-compreneur customers just like you. So to get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below and you're going to learn exactly how we do this in just minutes. Thank you so much for being part of the Dropified family and enjoy the show. Welcome to e-commerce mastery. I am super excited for today's guest, John Malott. He is, oh my gosh, I honestly, it's gonna be so much fun, guys. We're going to be speaking with John Malott today. He's a well-known marketing giant, grossing over 7 figures per year with over 100,000 distributors. This is what this man has built in just a short period of time. It's been incredible. He's founder of Build Your Empire.co. And more recently, he's been starting something a little bit really interesting with his wife, Najla. It's called Oh Snap Active Lifestyle. And so we're excited to hear a little bit more about that today. John, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm honestly, man, I'm super excited to chat with you about this today.
You got me fired up, man. I'm excited to be here. We're
great,
finally
man.
Connecting, man. It's good.
Yeah, dude. And man, anyway, we're gonna have a lot to talk about today, guys, and especially for those of you that are already part of the Dropified, private label on demand plan, or in the supplement business already. John is an absolute master with this. And so I need you to literally pause everything that is going on around you right now. If there's fire alarms, just take the battery out. Please don't do that. And grab a pen and paper and get ready to take some notes, because we're going to dive into some real truth bombs, some absolute golden nuggets. But before we dive in, let's just do it like we do with every episode, a quick breakdown of what we're going to be covering today. So first things first, we're going to hear a little bit more about John's story. Back to when he was a teenager that just hit rock bottom, as a lot of us have had. But the difference is now he is clearing over 7 figures per year as a successful entrepreneur. So we want to hear that story. Next, we're actually going to talk about marketing strategies that will make your supplement business absolutely explode, because they are going to be more noticeable. And finally, we're going to give everyone who is listening the #1 network marketing secret for getting people to sell your story, because it's not just about the quality of the product, although that's extremely important. It's about the story behind why you are doing what you're doing. Then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We have a couple great gifts today, and yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. So John, you ready to go?
I'm ready to go, man. You got me fired up. Let's go.
Sounds good. Well, John, I'll tell you what, let me hand the mic off to you, and I want to hear your story, Ben. And I'm sure you've told it 100 times, but dude, how did you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, I don't have all the things that society says you're supposed to have to be successful. I don't have a college degree. I don't even have a high school diploma. And you know how society has a way of putting people in boxes, color of skin, gender. In my case, it was lack of education. I ended up doing exactly what society expected from a 10th grade dropout. I found myself working over at the General Electric plant. I'm a custodial engineer. I had a title. I was a janitor, man. I was scrubbing other man's floors, toilets, working check to check, working hard to keep up with the big mouth promises I made to family, friends, and bill collectors. I was getting nowhere very, very fast. But, and part of the reason why I found myself there is my first felony arrest, I was 15 years old. I won't go into a lot of details here, but I robbed a movie theater at 15 years old at gunpoint. I found myself incarcerated, as a young person in a juvenile detention facility. As when I was released from that facility, what we now know today as the crack epidemic that was alive and well in my neighborhood. You know, we didn't call it crack. We were freebasing cocaine, you know, basically turning cocaine into a smokable form. Anyway, so, you know, as bad as I wanted to be a capitalist, you know, I liked the product too much, and I didn't get the memo, don't get high on your own supply. By 17 years old, I had a heart attack from smoking cocaine. And what happened basically, this is where actually
how old were you?
I was 17 when
you
that
had a heart
happened.
attack at 17 years old.
17. Yeah. You know, we were hitting that pipe pretty heavily. You know, it's a testament to the human mind though. I had no money. I had no job, but I never missed a night of getting high. So it wasn't like, oh, it's Tuesday night, I'm not going to get high because I'm broke. I always found a way to get, you know, what I needed.
Right.
And so it's funny to me when I hear people making excuses about why they can't do that or why can't, you know, if you want something bad enough, you're going to find a way to get it. And
that's right.
Unfortunately, you know, my energy was being used for destructive purposes. And later on, and we can talk about this more, is, you know, by you know, basically retooling my mind and then changing my focus. So with the same relentless pursuit I pursued my drug habit, I because I was in a drug rehabilitation facility where a guy by the name of Dave, a counselor, started to give me information and really convinced me that business was my way out of this environment, you know, because I was like, man, what am I going to do? You know, and I didn't see myself as a business person. I couldn't even communicate. There's no way we couldn't even have this conversation. You'd be like, who is this clown? There's no way you would have me on the show back then. But, you know, it was in that drug rehabilitation facility that things started to change. I was locked in that. There was some circumstances around it. So I was locked in there. So I was kind of forced to go through this program. But it was, at that point, I was at the lowest point in my life. You know, when I left that facility, all I had left was, you know, the tennis shoes I was wearing, the jeans and the sweatshirt. I had burned all the bridges, relationships and everything else. So, you know, I was literally starting from nothing. And, but it was there that I realized that, you know, I got a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People in there. It was my first, you know, exposure to personal development. So that was a seed that got planted. And then from there, you know, I still was not doing so well. I was, you know, 1 foot in the hood, 1 foot, you know, in a book. You know, I knew that there was a better life. I just didn't know exactly how to go about getting it. And, you know, my last felony arrest, I was 24 years old. And that was the end. And at that point, you know, sitting in the Milwaukee County Jail on the bullpen floor, waiting to go to trial 4 days, because it was July 4th, 1993. So I sat 4 days in this miserable situation. Finally got to court. Anyways, you know, it was on that bullpen floor where I made a decision. Like, yes, I was a dropout. I was a loser. I was a drug addict. I was a criminal, all these things. But that's who I was. That wouldn't be who I would be going forward. And it was on that bullpen floor I made a decision to change my life. And so that was really, that was the last time I did drugs, last time I was arrested. And I wish I could say from there, man, it was all sunshine and roses. Man, my good friend, Les Brown, who was a motivational speaker, we wrote a book together. Les Brown used to say, jump and the net will appear. And I'm like, Les, bro, I jumped. I bounced off the pavement like 18 times. Where's the net, man? Where's the net?
Stop hogging the net, Les.
I know. It was miserable, man. It took me 7 years from that point to crack $100,000 in a single year. Wow. So my first year as a full-time entrepreneur, I only made $4,000, $4,000 for the whole year. So, you know, nobody thought John Malott was delivering them to freedom or greatness. You know, I was the laughing stock. You know, it was, you know, people talk crazy, family talk. You know, Thanksgiving dinners, which Thanksgiving's coming up, family would talk crazy. Oh, are you rich yet? I'm like, are you rich? You still doing the same thing? Been doing it for 20 years. At least I'm trying to do something. At least I'm trying to, you know, change, you know, the circumstances. You know, do something big. Do something, you know. With impact. And but yeah, it took 7 years, but then from there, you know, went from 116,000 the next year to 224,000, then $1 million, then 2 million. You know, that was like, you know, $250,000 a month residual income. It just, you know, people see the end. You know, they see the stuff later, but they didn't see the pain and the suffering and all the things that you know, the process. I had to go through a process, man, to get to a point where, you know, things were starting to get a little easier on me. So, you know, I was great at self-sabotage, man. I always found a way to mess myself up.
Isn't that the truth, hey? Yeah. And I think I you know what, man, I would agree with you. I think that most people are like that. And you know, sabotage doesn't necessarily, and by the way, sorry, I wanted to thank you so much for just sharing that. That's a pretty gnarly story. And I mean, super happy for you and all the success that you've had. But I mean, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that as a teenager. It's rough, you know, it's rough when you get stuck in ruts like that. And I think that, if I don't want to speak out of turn, but you know, after kind of just, you know, looking into, you know, and actually it's funny, Build Your Empire, I've been following Build Your Empire for quite some time. And, but looking at what you're doing with OSnap and kind of how you've developed, you know, into the success story that you are right now, man, like there's a lot of pruning, and pruning sucks, you know, like no one enjoys cutting off an arm and praying to God that it grows back and it's going to bear more fruit. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work like that. That's not the way that the human mind is, or the human nature usually is. And yet you are not only standing there saying, listen, this is where my arm used to be, and this is what it used to look like, but now this is what it's become. And hey, listen, I have the shears ready to go here, and I'm going to do this with you. And instead of saying, hey, go change your life and blah, 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 like you're actually standing there. And when I say 100,000 distributors, I would venture to say that you actually know the vast majority of those distributors, and that they've been along with you for quite some time, because you've done that. You've actually said, I'm not just going to sell you something. I'm actually going to stand here with the shears and say, let's do this together. Am I out turning that, or is that correct?
No, you're right on, man. That was the big thing for me. You know, I had some incredible mentors that came in my life pretty early on. One of them, a lot of people are aware of, Jim Rohn, who was also Tony Robbins' mentor. Jim Rohn was my upline in a network marketing company, and he had an incentive to be my mentor. And what was his incentive? If I sold something, he got paid. So, you know, but when I was young and I was sitting at the feet of greatness and didn't really understand, you know, I mean, I knew the dude was rich. He was easy to talk to. He had an incredible mind, but I didn't understand the access that I had. You know, now, of course, later on, I figured out, because I felt like we were catapulted, because I would get around other people in the same industry, same profession, and they seemed, you know, they didn't seem to get it. And I could tell the difference was the information they were getting compared to what we were getting. Mm-hmm. And then I had a billionaire mentor that was also part of that organization, Paul J. Meyer, you know, God rest both their souls, incredible men. That taught me, you know, about service to many leads to greatness. I apologize. My phone is ringing off the hook. I should have put on Do Not Disturb. Anyhow, so these guys taught me, you know, the philosophies and the principles, and you know, I stayed in the game. And one of the biggest things, you know, they would tell the truth. Now it's difficult to tell people the truth because we're so thin-skinned. You know, we get offended so easily. But they would tell me, look, man, John, you're an idiot. You're messing up. Don't call me back until you get your shit straight. You know, and, you know, like, you don't want to hear that your breath stinks, but if someone doesn't tell you, you walk around offending people. And you know, these were the type of people that told me, look, this is what you're doing. Here's what you need to do. Yeah. And they basically said, you know, if you're not going to be teaching, or, you know, the whole thing was burning desire, willing to work, and coachable or humble, you know, and that was teachable. And if I didn't have those three characteristics, it would have never worked. You know, I let my brother, you know, still in and out of prison, heroin addict. My sister, she died from a heroin overdose when she was 21 years old. So out of the three of us coming out of one household, only one chose to go down that road. And it's a testament to the things that I thought were a curse actually turned out to be a blessing. Those things that happened to me, the people that came into my life, you know, the events that happened, you know, someone introducing me to a company and said, look, you're broke, you suck, you need to make some money, you should go over here and listen to these guys. And I was just open enough to say, okay, you're right. And I went and listened, and it was the beginning of a massive turnaround in my life and in my family's life.
Yeah, one thing it's always stuck with me. I think it was TD Jakes that said this, but there's always a mess in the message, right? Yes. There's always a mess in the message. And I mean, I think that's 100% true. And so, I mean, man, I feel like we just stay on this all day, and it's so good. Let me transition into something here again. Similar topic, but there's a lot of folks right now, especially during, you know, this season, that they just feel stuck, you know, and it may not be an addiction. It may not be in you know, and the same things that you face, the same thing that I faced, you know, as even teenagers. Some of them are our, you know, our age, and they still feel stuck, and they're stuck in, like you had said, 20-year careers that are not making them rich, and they're stuck in maybe lost jobs, or they're trying to figure out what to do with their life, and they're stuck, you know. And I love it when you said earlier, so there's a question here, is you said that people will do whatever it takes to get the thing that they want. And right now it feels like the thing that people want sometimes is, you know, they want success, they want wealth, they want to win the lottery, they want all this stuff, right? And it'd be great if, and my life would change if, and they kind of throw it on, well, until that happens, my life can't change. And so they just stick to the things they want. They go for that bottle, they go for those, you know, that bag, they go for that next Netflix binge, they go for the next bag of chips, whatever it is, right? And they need to fill themselves with that one thing, because they're like, if I can't have that, then I got to grab for this, because this is cheap enough, or this is accessible enough to me to be able to do this. Sorry, I'm preaching right now, but I'm telling you,
No, you're good.
like that's the noise. That's the lie that people are getting right now. And that is not what you preach. That is not what you allow people to believe about themselves. What is it that you allow people to believe themselves, or you want people to believe about themselves?
Look, you know, the bottom line is, if John Malott can do it, anyone can do it. If another man or another woman can do it,
Right.
Anybody can do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so that's really been my whole story. Is like, you know, if this dummy, me, if I can do this thing, then anybody can do it. You know, my vocabulary was weak. I couldn't speak without cussing all the time. Now I know cussing is kind of cool and all the big guys do it.
Sure.
But when I was coming up, you weren't going to do business if every other word was the F word. You know what I'm saying? People,
that's right.
They weren't going to do business with you. Now, you know, it's a different time. But you know, you can become, and you know, our parents tell you can be anything you want to be when you grow up, and we don't really buy into that, because
Sure.
our parents proved to us, well, if that's the case, well, why aren't you? Why are you frustrated? Why are you complaining about the mortgage? You know, why are you complaining about, you know, the bills not getting paid and all this stuff? So we see, it's like my mother used to tell me not to smoke cigarettes while she would smoke cigarettes.
Right.
You know, right. By the time I'm 12 years old, I'm in the alley smoking her cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do as I say,
not as I do.
Not as I do, which is a terrible leadership philosophy.
It's true.
and for me, and I see it a lot with our you know, millennials, and I've got 4 daughters. My wife is a millennial, but I see people are looking for the shortest path, which I get. You know, the brain is designed to conserve energy, to find. But the challenge is, if you're always looking for the shortest path isn't going to lead you to fortune. The shortest path is not going to lead you to your best health, to your best mindset, to your best relationships. And that's where people, you got to figure out, here's the trade-off. You want to sit around, smoke weed, play Xbox all day. Yeah, that might be, you know, in a lot of ways gratifying, and you might feel okay, but do that for a year, do that for 2 years. The compound effect of that, you're going to wake up one day and say, damn, I can't pay my bills. You know, I'm broke. I got to depend on the government. I got to depend on family and friends, you know, to make my way in this world. And that's what happens. We don't, you know, set out to live a life of regret. But it's like Jim Rome, my mentor, used to say. He said, you know, in the end, you know, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And, you know, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. And we see it all the time, man. People, look, I'm 50 years old. You know, I don't.
No, you're not. Shut up. You are not 50 years old.
I
you
like
suck. Get out of here, man.
Yeah, you know, I hit this 50 mark. So no matter how I look at it, I feel like, okay, I'm probably in the second half of my life, you know, and you know, I feel good, man. I feel better now because while I was damaging my body in my all my younger years, now I take care of myself. I'm focused on mind, body, spirit, all these different things. So I feel great. I can outrun my kids, and they're in their 20s, you know. So right.
That still feels good.
It does, man. So, you know, and I got a young wife, so I got to keep up with her. That's another reason to stay young and vibrant and healthy. But it's all, in the end, it's up here, man. It's what we get so focused on the results we're getting, and if they're bad, of course, we're depressed. We're taking Prozac or worse. And if they're good, we're high. We ride this damn roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? We're up and down all the time. And what I figured out is, for me, and this was just for me, I'm not saying this for everybody. For me, I needed to find a way just to have little gains every single day. Like, you know, my mentors, you know, wrote a book called The Slight Edge, and it was, you know, these little things every single day, simple disciplines I would do every single day that didn't seem like much that day, but compounded over a period of time. All of a sudden, people are like, dang, where did this loser come from? You know, here's a guy who, you know, didn't have anything, came from the hood, you know, all the felonies, high school dropout, all this stuff, and all of a sudden he's making millions of dollars, and people couldn't understand it. But people weren't watching it was a slow progress. It sucked, man. 7 years to 6 figures. When I see guys coming up now, you know, on Instagram, and I don't know if it's all true, because we don't know for sure.
Right.
But everybody's a big baller on Instagram. So I
Yeah.
you know, I look at it like, damn, I feel like a loser watching 22-year-olds in Rolls Royces and mansions. And you know, I didn't get real traction until I was almost 30 years old before I got any type of real traction. And, you know, but we could go on this topic, but for me, it was, I had to get my mind right first and foremost, because my thinking led to my beliefs, and my beliefs led to, you know, my expectations, which led to my attitude, which led to my behavior, and eventually ultimately led to the life that I was living. So what I caught on to is I had to work backwards. I was complaining about my life, complaining about the police, complaining about the government, my parents, all the stuff that the teachers, it was their fault I dropped out of high school. It wasn't my fault. You know, it was my dad's fault that, you know, I blamed everybody. You know, when I was getting arrested, it was the police's fault. It wasn't me. It's the police. But when when I finally had real mentors that came in and held the mirror up and said, listen, dummy, this is you. You made an appointment to be here. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Now, that's the bad news for you. You know, the good news is you can make a new appointment. And I had mentors back then. It was a slower, you know, things were slower. They said it's going to take 5 years for you to turn your life around. Yeah. And it took me a little longer because I wasn't the sharpest dude around. But
you committed.
I was committed, man. I stayed in the game, you know, and now I think you could do the same stuff in it for sure half the time, because we got tools like we didn't have before. I mean, we couldn't communicate like this back then.
No, you had to fly over here in Canada. So I love this, man. And you know what? We are going to pivot here into actually when we're talking about network marketing and strategies, and, you know, especially around things around supplements, we're going to dive into that. But I'm just going to go ahead and tell every single listener, and I don't care if you're coming from John's audience or if you're coming from Dropified's audience, if what we were just talking about, because there is so much gold in what we just even said there, that is decades of experience that is telling you that if you are not ready, if you're in a position right now where you know you need to make some changes and you are not ready to make those changes, I just want you to shut this episode right off right now. Okay. Don't, because you're not going to be able to absorb what we're going to give you. You're not going to be able to actually understand and take into practice what we are going to give you next. You need to seriously stop this video. I mean, it's going to be available to you. You can pause it and you can come back to it in a couple of weeks or whenever you're ready, because you are going to want to hear what this next bit is. But you need to shut this thing off and you need to get into gear here and say, listen, I am ready to make this change for my life right now, because what we're talking about right now is not just our years of experience, but we're talking about years of mentors' experience and their mentors' experience that have passed all the way down to John and myself. And we're about to share that with you. But I am so dead serious. I do not want to overwhelm you. You need to shut this damn thing off, and you need to come back when you're ready.
I love what you're saying here, because it reminds me, you know, I've been trying to get this balance in my life, which is difficult because sometimes I'm so out of whack when it comes to like my finances or my health. I swing the pendulum so far, but it reminds me, like, when I'm doing bad, I don't want to get anything around spiritual. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to hear nothing. You know what I mean? I have to avoid that because I'm not ready for it. And it's kind of what you're saying is, like, I get it. Some people they're not there yet. Yeah. And when, you know, my mentor used to say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
You got it.
You know, so you have to be ready, man. We all have it inside of us, but not everybody's ready to let go of the excuse, because sometimes it's easier to make excuses than it is to take responsibility. And that was me, man. There was a time I would have been listening to this and you would have said that, and I would have known, okay, I better turn this off because I'm not ready. But if you do, if that seed is there and you know that there's something inside of you, and you just got to figure out what are the steps. That's the beauty of a show like this. What you're doing, man, I didn't have access to this stuff. This is all new, man. When I see like what you can accomplish in such a short period of time, because you're given the playbook, man. You're saying, here it is. Here's the formula. Here's the recipe. All you got to do is follow the directions. If you do that, man, you can go anywhere you want. So I love it. I love how you roll, man. I love the information you provide.
Hi there, Ecom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a friendly reminder that you've unlocked access to our exclusive podcast-only training on how to create your own supplement, CBD, pet, or skincare brand in just minutes, where we're going to break down from A to Z exactly how to put your own design on top-selling products and start selling in just minutes. It's incredible. Now, the principles that you're going to learn are exactly the same principles that we've used with our customers who did over $2 billion. That's right, with a B, $2 billion in sales last year alone. You cannot afford not to take me up on this free training. So to get immediate 100% complimentary access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below in the show notes. I will see you soon. This is good, man. I love it. All right. That was probably one of the best introductions and longest introductions I've ever had. But dude, this is gold. I love it. Okay. So let me do this. If it's all right, and I'm going to do a bit of a plug for Dropified here, but there's a purpose for it, okay? And I'm not telling you to go off and buy something right now. I just need you to understand the context of what we're going to talk about, okay? So and John, I'm even going to give you the question here so you can, start getting your thoughts together with it as well. So the question I'm going to ask John here, and then I'm going to talk a little about why I'm asking this question, is I want John to talk about marketing strategies, very specifically on the network marketing side, which is a little bit different than what folks see right now when it comes to Facebook, Google, native, influencer, whatever. That plays a part into this, but what network strategy or network marketing strategies can people use right now that will make a supplement business absolutely explode because it is more noticeable? So John, so the question is, I want to talk about what are some like absolute token network marketing strategies that will make supplement businesses more noticeable, which will allow them to explode. So while you're thinking on that, I want to just explain why we're asking this question is because if you do not have a supplement business, okay, what we're talking about today is John, and I'm sure John's going to bring it up with his experience, is it is not easy getting into the supplement nutraceutical business. It is not. It is expensive. It takes time. You got to look at customer formalizations. You got to figure out what your brand is. You got to make sure that that's the right brand that people are going to buy. So you got to do a ridiculous amount of research up front. You got to have meetings. You got to take care of samples. You got to test those samples. You got to make sure all of this is working. All your certifications are there, FDA approvals, CGMP certifications, the actual, all the way down to the actual, testing process is done properly. Like, it is crazy. And then you have to buy all the inventory up front. Then you got to make sure that you can have people believe in what it is that you're selling because you know it's going to work. That's why people don't get into this very easily or without thinking through it very, very clearly. What Dropified has done is we have opened the doors to this. And again, I'm not here to I'm not here to say that we have a quick and easy way of getting in and making millions of dollars, because there's still a lot of work that goes into it. And we're going to talk about some strategies that are going to help you get in the right mindset of how you can do that. But all that Dropified has done is we've opened up a tier called the Private Label On Demand Plan that allows you access to top grade supplements, CBD, skincare, and pet supplement products. Okay. And we're adding more to it, like coffee and wine and all these other things, but it's in consumables where you can literally do something like you can do with t-shirts. So you can see John's shirt, my shirt, where it's like print on demand, but you can create your own custom labels, your own custom brands. Literally, you can flip them on these supplements, put them into your online stores in just minutes. Okay. You can do that because the point is, instead of putting so much time and so much effort and so much, money up front without even knowing if it's going to work, we take all the risk out of that, right? We say, listen, if you want to test this stuff, go for it. And we actually teach you how to do that after you sign up for the program, because the whole point is not only that you have access to these amazing supplements, CBD, pet supplements, and skincare products, access to be able to put unlimited number of brands and testing out there to figure out what's going to work. But then even you don't have to buy any upfront inventory. If someone buys one, we'll fulfill one for you automatically. They buy a million, we'll fulfill a million. The whole point is to actually give you the leg up that John never had, that I never had when we first started. And it's absolutely bonkers. Okay, so if you're interested, or if you're already in supplements, great. If you're not a part of Dropified, I'm going to encourage you at the end of the show to look into it. But what we want to talk about right now is network marketing strategies, which is different than just looking at Facebook, Google, and native or influencer ads. So, John, I just want to make sure people understood the concept, why we're talking about this. I'm going to
I love it, man. You're proof that there has never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. Like there is no excuse. I made a lot of excuses back in the day. I didn't have the money, I didn't have the time, I didn't have the resources, didn't all this stuff. And what you guys are doing is brilliant, because anybody could say, look, I got an idea, I got a little bit of ambition. And in the end, you're taking the risk. Because I can tell you what the risk is. I'm launching a $10 million company, you know, and we haven't taken in $1 of revenue yet. so you wrap your mind around that. You know, then you talk about the formulations. You know, some of our proprietary blends have gone through these clinical studies. So there's a lot that goes into this stuff. So what you guys have done is taken, you know, you're doing what we do, but you're giving it to the masses. Now, we do something similar in network marketing, because my whole thing is about scaling. You know, everything for a professional in network marketing is how fast can I duplicate? How fast can I scale? We're scaling people. And this is really, if I had a claim to fame, it's our ability to scale people.
Absolutely.
You know, our last company, we had 327,000 affiliates in 8 countries. And our team was doing 220 million. Yeah, our team alone was doing $220 million in revenue a year. So you can kind of get the idea. Of course, I made tens of millions of dollars. My team made hundreds of millions of dollars, which is what I'm most proud of. It's like, it's one thing to have success, which, you know, is adding value to yourself, but significance is adding value to others. So we're always focused on it. So that leads me to the answer to the question. As a network marketer, you got to be thinking duplication up front. So here's where people make a mistake in network marketing. They believe they've got to become salespeople, just like I did. When I first got involved, man, if you'd have seen me, I try to change the way I talk. I straightened up. I gave myself a fancy title. People thought I was nuts, man. I wasn't myself anymore, because I thought I had to become this great salesperson. I had to have closing techniques, all this crap. It didn't work. Matter of fact, you see people chasing down family and friends, freaking them out, and they make the whole profession look bad. You know what I mean? You've seen them. These people that like, oh man, here he comes.
Vacuum salesman technique.
Yeah,
I used to be a vacuum salesman, and I was for 2 days, and I said, I can't do this anymore. It was the worst.
Yeah, they scare the hell out of people, man, because, you know, they walk into the wedding reception, everybody hides. It's like, oh, here he comes with that thing, you know.
With a pocket full of cards. Yeah.
Exactly. And it just doesn't work, man. I'm like the anti-MLM network marketer. What I teach people how, first off, you better have a system. You got to know clearly everything I do is system driven, not people driven. And this is like McDonald's. Good. McDonald's is a system driven deal. They don't need a guy in a, you know, 3-piece suit hard closing you on a damn Big Mac. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, here it is. Press a button. So what we built is we use the technology today. We have an app that's a sales funnel app right on your phone. It's your everything is in there. Contact management system. We've loaded up. What we do is we create really high caliber videos. We have a prospecting path. You know, so our first step is like a 90-second video, something very short, because our attention span sucks today. So you got to get their attention. So I tell people, look, say less to more people is my number one philosophy with a brand new person. Don't go out here try to talk. I know you're excited. And then they call it ignorance on fire, but now it's ignorance on fire that leads to you frustrated, burnt out, you know, destroying your relationships and going nowhere. So we use the app, which has preloaded messaging. So if I was to send you a message, it'd have a preloaded message already in the app. I press a button. And it's basically like, hey, Mike, check this 90-second video out. And we use text message because our studies have shown we're getting a much higher open rate and blah, blah, blah. So you get that.
Well,
and
then from there, it's private versus public, right? And I love that.
Yeah. So everything. So what we've done is we systematize everything. So for us, it's how we prospect. There's a system to it. We don't deviate. If you want to deviate, you want to go off the path, well, good luck scaling this thing, because we've watched people, great salespeople, struggle the most in network marketing because they're used to using their mouth. The challenge with that, like my largest organization was in South Korea. I speak 0 Korean. I do eat kimchi from time to time, but that's the extent of my Korean. And if it was all dependent on my ability to use my mouth or fancy techniques, we could have never got to $100 million a year in South Korea.
Wow.
All we did was change the language in the app. We changed the language on the videos. The same thing we were doing here, we got duplicating all over the world. And once we got momentum, it was over. You know, momentum's the great exaggerator. Yeah. Momentum makes ordinary guys look extraordinary. I wasn't anything. Look, I would go to events in Korea. We'd have 30,000 of our distributors in an arena. 30,000 for our conventions. I get up on stage, you know, what's supposed to be a half-hour talk was an hour because of translation. They loved everything. Everyone's excited, high-fiving. we would leave and they would go smash it. There'd be another, 10 million in revenue. I mean, so everything was about system prospecting.
Yeah.
When we onboarded somebody, if you know me, I got like a 3-step, thing I can't have fancy footwork. I can't have more than 5 or 6 steps. I got 2 or 3 steps, sometimes 4 for everything I do. And then we teach to teach. We teach people to do the exact same thing. We call it mastering the mundane. The same boring over and over and over, and just keep doing it until that thing hits and it catches on. And all of a sudden, now you got a business growing in spite of you, not because of you. That's the big thing in network marketing. A lot of network marketers, their egos are so big. They're like, oh, my team, these are my people, my this. I'm like, man, set your people free. They ain't yours. And they get worried about getting on a show like yours because they're afraid you're going to be their competition. I'm like, look, there's so much abundance. There's so much available, and we can find creative ways to work together. And now all ships rise with the tide. So I'm constantly trying to figure out, how do I teach the team a streamlined approach, get rid of all this corny, techniques that network marketers use that make them look like idiots and scares their family and friends away. Right. And then show them how to use high-tech tools that allow them to be busy. Like if you want to watch Netflix, why not have on your app? I can do 25 exposures, during one Netflix episode. So now I'm building my business, and whatever I can, while I'm moving around, I can get my business done, and I'm using the app. Then the app tells me if they watch the videos, how much of the video they watch. It gives me a lot of feedback, and that's it, man. And then I'll tell you the biggest thing that I would tell network marketers do is quickly get your ratios figured out. So figure out how many video, like we know exactly, I can tell you exactly what our numbers are. Like I have a thing called 650 to freedom. And it's basically, if you get this series of videos to 650 people, it's called game over. Yeah. You will, on average, it's over $20,000 a month in residual income. Wow. And we figured out, we've got the numbers. So, we know this for every 13 presentations, which are done by video or a Zoom, if you get them on a live or whatever. Sure. But for every 13 presentations, we bring in one new ambassador, one new distributor, whatever you call them. And what we also figured out is for every 10 ambassadors that we bring on, we end up with one leader. What's a leader? A guy who says, with or without you, man, I'm going to the top of this thing. You'll find me dead on the side trying to get there. Yeah. And so to get 10 leaders in network marketing would suggest I got to make 130 presentations to get those 10 leaders. Yeah. So it's just math. It's math, man. It's all math. And I figured out I was getting so attached to like rejection. You would tell me, no, I'm not interested. And I would suck my thumb for a day and a half in the fetal position. Like, oh, nobody wants it. They don't like it. But I realized the faster I could go through the numbers, the faster I could get to that 650, the faster I could be freed. And that's the thing. You got to, you hear the cliches, like, we used to say, go on these 90-day runs, 90 days of pain for a lifetime of gain. I don't even say 90 days of pain anymore because people don't want any pain. Yeah. No one wants pain. But the bottom line is, if you're going to get rich, if you're going to make millions of dollars, you're going to have to sacrifice something. You're going to have to go through something. There's no way around it. You're going to have to, toughen up a little bit. And this doesn't matter. Like, you're providing this back end for people and doing all these things that will, depending on how big this could be, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. You're providing all this, and you'll still have people that won't go through the process, or they'll get their hands on it and they'll sit at home twiddling their thumbs, like, I don't know what to do, or what should I do, or who should I talk to? And it's like, you got to get out there. You got to figure it out, man. You got to start thinking, how do I make this crap happen? How do I get out here and go to the next level? Who do I get this in front of? What's next? Anyway, so I love that, rolling, dude. Once I get rolling, it's hard to stop me. So just, say, call a timeout.
Dude, I would never time you out. That's crazy. This is good. This is all gold. One thing I would, what I love about this, and this actually, whenever I get invited onto, shows, one thing I really like telling people is it's about story, right? And I love storytelling. And man, you have a great story, and I can't wait to keep telling your story. I'm not ever going to tell it like yours, like you can, but you're the author, right? So, but when it comes to storytelling, I love what you just said, because at the end of the day, you are taking someone and you have like mastered, you literally tighten every single screw, and you do not launch. This is my greatest thing when it comes to storytelling, is you do not start telling that story unless you know who you're telling that story to, and how, like, what is it that you're going to get out of their story, and what story are you bringing them along? So for example, for you have from inception to sale and repeat sale, all all figured out, all tallied out. You've figured out what that experience is going to look like, why that experience needs to look that way. What's the story of people? What story are they telling themselves when they're coming in? How are you kind of overcoming those initial, false beliefs or fears or whatever it is? And how are you going to help them transition? Like Russell Brunson says, ClickFunnels, but it's like how Russell Brunson says the expert secrets, like with the Epiphany Bridge. How can you help them knock down that big domino, hit the, cross the Epiphany Bridge and be in the promised land, right? What is it that you are doing with people? And so that you figured that out. And if anyone wants to succeed, this isn't just throwing up a supplement brand and saying, hey, listen, people are going to love this. And then they don't care about what the follow-up of that is going to be, or they do hit it really big because they're 1 in a million, and all of a sudden they realize they don't have anything set up to actually capture any of that, right? If you do not know what every step of your customer's process is going to be, and this is my thing, is they need to understand where that finish line is. They need to know when they're done. They need to understand when this is what they're doing. This is what their life is now going to look like. And this is what they can expect moving forward. Because I tell you, the one thing that people hate is the reality of the unexpected, right? They hate getting bad news. They hate when they are faced with something they weren't expecting, which is why they try it as best as they can to control whatever environment that they can. And whenever they get that with your business, well, do you think they're going to stick with your business? Because like, oops, okay, I guess that happens. No, not a whole lot of people. You're going to see a massive drop off with people. So when you see error messages, when you have the wrong message hitting people at the wrong time, it throws them off. And that's what they don't want. That they want to work. They're willing to work with businesses as long as they understand what they can expect when working with that business. And if you make that super clear at the beginning point, and you have not deviated from that one iota, then you will see a vast majority of the people that started finish, right? And so that you can create numbers. And I think that's the other bit, is when you're talking about data, it's super crucial, but you need to know when people are unhooking from you and why. And if you don't know why, find someone who can tell you, because you're going to that will always be your hurdle unless you can solve that problem. And don't go full tilt until you have the full thing, the full model built out. And then you can start, going full tilt on it. But you got to be ready to take some harsh news and get slapped around a little bit, because that's kind of part of the job is if you don't get slapped around a bit, you're never going to correct it and figure out what people are actually asking you. And that's the other key, is people will tell you what they want. It's your job if you're going to listen to them or not. And that's what I'm hearing out of what you're saying, is this: you didn't just come up with these movies. You didn't just come up with this formula. You did it through getting slapped. It's almost like a bowling with guards, right? Like you were the ball and you were just getting slap, slap, until eventually you hit one pin. You're like, okay, that pin felt good. How can I do it next time without actually getting hit a bunch of times? But anyway, that's a bit of my rant on it. But I don't know. Would you agree, disagree with that?
No, that's 100%, man. All this was through trial and error. Yeah. The deal is, like, why do we want mentors? Why do we listen to shows like this? It's designed to give us a shortcut, so what I had to figure out is, how do I, because again, if the brain is trying to conserve energy and my brain trying to do the same thing, my brain's looking for shortcuts too. My brain is looking, I don't want all kinds of complexity and all this stuff. So we caught on very quickly. Everybody's thinking the same way. So our shortcut was, let me give you 3 steps instead of 30 steps. Let me give you clarity instead of uncertainty. So when you join with me in a company, you're not out there like, what do I do? It's because anytime you do something new, it's going to be uncomfortable. So we try to take a lot of the uncomfortableness and say, look, we got you. We've been where you are. Here's the first thing you do right now. Here's your daily method of operation, everything. And then our number one training technique, it's called the truth. Now, I know this sounds risque and a little crazy, but our number one training technique is the truth. The truth is, you are not going to make $1 million your first week in this deal. The truth is, you're gonna get beat up a little bit. The truth is, you're gonna have to go through some pain. There's no way around it. And so we try to set that up rather than lead you to believe that all roads lead to greatness, all roads lead to millions of dollars, because you're gonna get frustrated, because it's business, man, and it doesn't matter how for all of us, there's gonna be something that we didn't expect, we didn't plan for, or somebody you really love or care about or respect is gonna tell you you're an idiot, and it's never gonna work. And you got to decide, what am I going to do when that happens? Am I going to keep going? But most people, unfortunately, it's sad, because what stops people from getting what they could get, what they for sure have the potential to get, is they get beat up a little bit and they slow down and eventually they quit. That's the only way, like we tell people all the time, look, the only way you can fail in our business is if you put your hands up in the air and say, I choose to.
Yep. Then
because if you stay in the game long enough, we're going to equip you. We're going to give you everything, because we've been there, man. I got beat up so bad. And my story is just the worst because it took me so long to make any real money. And so it became part of my mission is to help other people get paid. When the bill collectors were calling me all the time, I was so used to it. It didn't bother me anymore. But I started working with other people saying, look, let me help you get your bills paid. My bills are already jacked up. Let me help you get your bills paid. And by focusing our attention on our team, on other people, which is hard to do when you're broke. When you're broke, people are, they have this, you can smell commission on their breath. They're like desperate to make a sale. And that desperate energy actually stops people. And even if they're not talking to you directly, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I think it goes right through the websites. I think it goes right through the content they create. There's a desperation around. I see some of stuff. I'm like, man, I can feel some desperation in here. And people don't do business with desperate people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
If I see someone desperate looking person walking towards me on the street, I walk the other way now. I don't deal with those types.
Yeah.
So, you've got to, like you said, you got to have this stuff planned out. Again, I love what you guys are doing because you're providing so much of the heavy lifting. Just like in our business, we take a lot of the heavy lifting out, and then it's up to us to create the culture, the community, the environment. Then let us help you transform your mind, your body and your bank account. Those are the areas that we focus heavily on, and by helping someone get those things down, all of a sudden now they become the biggest ambassadors for you. They can't help but say, look, John Malott taught me this, and they don't realize what I'm teaching them was just taught. There's no John Malott originals, man. Everything I'm saying to you, someone else.
It's all plagiarized from years of other things. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I just keep someone else said this. I like it. I stole it. Now it's mine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally get that. Well, let me tell you guys. So we've talked a little bit about it, John. That was absolute gold. And guys, I know a lot of you that stayed on that didn't, cut loose. And for those of you that did cut loose and you're coming back, feel free to pause it and rewatch that because there was so much that John just covered there. It was absolutely incredible. And I think the key, it's funny because I was thinking it was going to be something else, but you touched on something that was so crucial, which is if you're going to be inviting people to a party, and just to sum it up, and probably not the best example, but whatever. If you're going to invite people to a party, you better damn sure make sure that party is ready to go for when people come in. And you don't want to invite people to a party and nothing's set up when they get there. So you might do a great job on bringing people in, but if it's not ready to go when they get there for them to have a good time, then no one's going to stay, right? And that's the key. So you're talking about getting the party set up before you start sending invitations out to the masses, right? It's okay to invite some people, but not to the masses. So what we are going to talk about here, and again, I want to be super respectful of John's time here, but and dude, by the way, before we get into the number one secret here, it's just been so much fun chat with you. You are just such a cool guy. I love it.
Thank you, brother. You too, man.
So we told you at the very beginning of this episode, we are going to give you the number one network marketing secret for getting people to sell your story. But before we reveal this, we've talked a little about Dropified. We've talked a little about build your empire as well as OSnap, and we're going to get into a little bit of OSnap here in just a little bit. About what that is and how you can learn under John's tutelage with that, with the 21-day challenge that they're just launching with OSnap Lifestyle. So John's going to talk about that in a second. But before we reveal this number one network marketing secret, I do want to let you know that we do have a couple special bonus gifts and offers that we always give to our podcast listeners, and this episode is no different. What we're going to be doing is for Dropified, if you are seriously interested in actually getting in and creating your own supplement brand, even if you've never done e-commerce before, and you're looking to, jump into $1 trillion per year market, like John's doing, but John has very, very unique products that obviously we're not going to be offering because that would be a massive conflict, but also because he's created something really, really cool. But if you're looking for top grade, products here that are coming from leading manufacturers in North America without putting all the upfront inventory, not having to deal with the upfront cost or the upfront risk or even the research and the custom formulations or anything, but you have a great idea and you want to learn about how you can get into that market, Dropified is going to be opening up this amazing offer. It's $197 a month. Again, it's month to month. I'm not doing some weird, random kind of, annual contract or anything like that. $197 a month is going to give you access to the platform. It's going to give you access to over 100 different label design templates that, again, this is going to be an extra bonus that we're throwing in, but over 100 different label design templates for people that just suck at design. It's our own in-house design team that created this. Is not coming from Google or Pinterest or anything like that. It's our own team that is pulled from what leading designs are actually looking at for each of these products. That's going to be in the supplement, CBD, skincare, and pet supplement products. As well, we're going to be throwing in something called the Supplement Traffic Secrets mini course. And what it is, it's about 5 or 6 different native ad platforms that you can use to help drive traffic to your site, to your sales funnels, to your websites, to whatever. And we're going to teach you how to do that, how to get that set up step by step. These are not 5-minute videos. These are longer, in-depth videos to teach you how to actually do it step by step, to actually get your pixels plugged in properly, all of it. So if you suck at marketing, then this is going to be the thing that you're going to love. If you suck at design, then I'm giving you over 100 plus label design templates. If you suck at both, well, you're welcome. And again, it's $197 a month. You can get it plugged into your store literally in minutes. And yeah, you can start your e-commerce journey today. So we're going to go ahead and throw that out there. That literally is not anywhere in public except for people that listen to this podcast. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that bonus was there. You can learn more about that below in the show notes here. And so now that we've kind of done that, I want to pass the baton over back to John. John, tell us about the 21-day challenge with OSNAP Active Lifestyle before we get into the #1 network marketing secret for getting people to sell your story.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of research that suggests it takes about 21 days to create a new habit. And I think the biggest challenge for most people is the habits that they have, that habit of, getting sucked into the Netflix series. Now, nothing wrong with that. I get sucked in too, just like the rest of us, or getting sucked into, the new Xbox and, PS, whatever. I don't know. I know there's one out there.
PS 1000. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Because my challenge is if I get on Xbox, man, I'm 3 days without shaving and, so I've learned that I've got to have the discipline to say no to that, but I had to create, new habits, man. And so instead, like there's stuff out there like 75 hard, there's a lot, and just the name alone suggests it's gonna be difficult. Most people won't even attempt it. Even me, it's like, I see 75 hard. I'm like, dang, that's going to disrupt my lifestyle in such a big way. I'm not going to be able to enjoy my life and my family. I'm not big on that type of thing. So what I'm big on is the slight edge, simple discipline, simple things you can do every single day, but over a period of time, it starts to have the compound effect, so the 21-day challenge was simply about that. It's like what we do there, again, mind, body, spirit, that whole thing, finances. So we focus on financial literacy. Nice. We focus on, for me, I used to think this was corny, but like meditation. Yeah. I can't tell you what I've gotten out of just taking a little bit of time to clear my head, man. And because if you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to build a supplement business, you're going to have so much stuff going on in here. And you got to, at some point, you got to purge some of that, get a clean slate and rock and roll again. So every day, I'll do 10, 15 minutes, simple stuff. Anybody can do it. Here's the thing. Everything that we do, anybody can do. Yeah. Easy to do, but here's the other challenge. It's also easy not to do. So meditation, exercise. My wife and I have a gratitude thing that we do every day, every morning, every night. It takes us 5 minutes, but it over a period of time, now it's become our habit. It's the financial windfalls that have come from our gratitude exercise are hard to imagine. The social relationship, that type of thing that came from just a simple gratitude thing that we've been doing now for years. It's massive, but it's a compound effect. The first day doing it, it's kind of weird.
It feels weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. And it was for me too, man. I'm from, I come from a different environment, man. We weren't all grateful and all happy all the time. And, so this was a different deal for me, but now I can tangibly point to the benefits. I can point to the house. I can point to the stuff that came from those things. So that's what we built into the 21-day challenge. We got, helping people with their, like for me, I learned from Jim Rohn, the empty books that you write in will have more value than the books you bought from, wow, Amazon.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
So journaling. So we walk people through journaling exercise to get them. Look, in the book, Think and Grow Rich, it's called Think and Grow Rich, not get a job and grow rich, not work any harder and grow rich. It was think. Sometimes for me, pulling out a blank journal and starting to write some things out, we're just kind of helping, guiding them a little bit, saying, here, try this, or here's a topic just, focusing on. And all of a sudden, like, you get going, man, you get rolling. It's like, I had no thoughts 10 minutes ago. Now I can't
Mhm.
stop. The stuff's coming out like crazy. And we started businesses from that. We've created incredible environments from that. So that's really what the 21-day challenge is. And it's kind of the setup for the launch of our company. You know, we'll have a leadership launch sometime in December, mid-December.
Nice.
And then a full-scale launch in January. So the 21-day challenge is to get people in the environment, and they can do anything they want. You know, they're not obligated to do anything. We give it to them for free. All the stuff is free. They got PDFs they can download. We're helping them with social media marketing, all these different pieces, leadership, team building. I'm giving out. I had a mentoring program that people paid for, and we give it to people free. So what I tell them now is, look, instead of you paying me to mentor you, join us and I'll pay you to be mentored by me. It's you know, we've shifted the game slightly. But I'm in a stage in my life too where it's about legacy. It's like,
Yes.
you know, I'm at a point now.
That's what your tattoo says, right?
Yeah, that's why I always
Yep.
point legacy.
Yeah.
Hey, when you get to be my age, you start writing down stuff. So if you're ever on stage and you forget what you're saying, you go, oh, let me talk about legacy.
I was going to say, did you run out of journals?
Yeah, now I got it all over my body. Everywhere you look, I got stuff, man. But you know, it's but so that's the deal. The 21-day challenge is really just, it's a community that we're building, and we're just encouraging people that, like, if someone wants to start a supplement company, man, Dropified, I know a place you can go eliminate, you know, 99% of your risk, you know, type thing. So that's what we do. We're also connectors. You know, I've got great friends. You know, Cody Grandadam is the flashlight king, doing hundreds of millions in flashlights. Josh Snow is teeth whitening, and so we're connecting, you know, our people to some world-class entrepreneurs. It's just about giving the information. Again, I'm an abundance mentality. I feel like if I can help Dropify grow, it's going to take nothing away from my company.
Right.
Matter of fact, who knows how the way the universe works? At some point, there's going to be something that comes around or something opens up, and you know, now we're all, you know, benefiting from whatever. And you just don't know. But I've learned over the years that, you know, put good out there, good comes back, no matter what.
I love
so
it.
That's it, man. The 21-day challenge. I'm excited about it, and you know, the community that we're building is second to none. I've got some great people around, much smarter than me, that are helping to facilitate all this. And people really they're getting a lot out of it. You know, just in you know, the first couple of days, people are saying, oh, wow, I didn't know this, or I didn't realize that. And then my wife is involved, and she's a big, you know, fitness influencer, and, you know, helping people just show anybody you can do this stuff. You don't have to, you know, be in the gym pumping 1,000 pounds of iron to be healthy and look good and feel good and get that spark in your eyes, get your skin glowing right, you know, and that's the deal.
I love it, dude. And you know,
that's where we're at.
Couple things with that. And again, not too many people know this about me, but my background's in psychology as well. And I got to tell you guys, that 21-day challenge, if you aren't already applying some form of strategy when it comes to journaling or gratitude, like, you know, having your gratitude time or self-reflection or meditation, you just don't know how much of your own self or your own ness, if you will, that you are missing out on. You have no idea how much of your own self you don't know yet until you open up these channels. And I'm not talking about just, you know, I'm not talking about spiritual channels or, you know, to the other side or anything like that. I'm talking about like shutting off the noise enough in every single day, in small moments, every single day, to be able to allow who you are to actually come through on pages, to come through to other people around you and what you're grateful for, to come through in private moments that you have from yourself, to actually be shed off. It's unbelievable. And the fact is this isn't just something hokey. It's actually rooted in psychology, which is incredible. And so I'm sure you cover a lot of that stuff already, but I just want to just encourage folks. This is not just a 21-day challenge on how you can be a millionaire. This isn't a 21-day challenge on how you can get fit. This isn't a 21-day challenge on how you can, you know, how you can learn the secrets that millionaires don't. Like, it's not gimmicky. This is literally something for you just to take a pause in away from the noise and just say, you need to figure out who you are before you're going to attack the world with your message. And we're just going to show you. I'm not even going to tell you who you are. I'm going to help you find out, using these amazing techniques that have been proven to help you identify for yourself who you are. And that is just absolute gold. So we're going to put a link down there below and give you access to to how you can jump in and be a part of that 21-day challenge and continue to follow John and his wife.
Yeah, and we're giving it to you, and we're giving it to you for free. So
yeah, and I'm not, it's not $1 million or $100 or $50 or $10. Like it's there you go. And so then it gives you a chance to kind of follow John and his wife on their journey as they move into those other amazing opportunities coming through. So so really excited. Sorry, my Siri just kicked in there with her opinion. So all right, guys, we've had you here for a long time. I love it, and hopefully you just gotten so much gold out of it. I know I have. And so John, let me ask. We've told people about this #1 networking marketing secret for getting people to sell your story. And I think you kind of alluded to some of it earlier around truth, but what is the #1 network marketing secret that you discovered that helped you actually achieve this? And you've kind of carried through it as being a cornerstone for getting people to sell your story, not just your product, but believe what you believe.
Look, and I don't want to disappoint your audience because what I'm about to say is incredibly simple.
It's okay. I'm sure half of them are still waiting to watch this until a couple of weeks from now, so that's fine.
Well, and once you get to know me, I have no fancy footwork. I don't have, that's not how I roll, man. Everything is simple. Like I even tell people in the supplement business, don't tell them 36 features of your product about turmeric and ubiquinol and all this stuff in it. Give me 3 benefits. What is it going to do for me? So that's a big deal. So for me, everything's simple. I want to know 3 things, but what we have discovered, and it's pretty simple, we are in the fear business. We're in the business of managing fear. But what that means is I'm in the relationship business. The relationships, it's the critical piece. If you think you can join a network marketing company and then just use all high-tech tools and never get in the trenches, never get in the communication thing, never, have that touch point with somebody or your organization. Yeah, you can now we got a lot of high-tech stuff. You can put a bunch of people on your product, but you can't keep them on. What works for us is we have so many ambassadors that are telling our story. Before I ever walked in a room in South Korea, my story was told by 30,000 Koreans in that room because we built relationships. Of course, we use translation in that case, and we use, the high tech and high touch, because today those 2 components, they're necessary, especially if you have a product that is perceived to be expensive. Well, what's your differentiator? Because otherwise I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to go find it somewhere else for cheaper. And that's what people do until you bring the relationship back to it. So for us, we teach 70% of our business is relationships.
Love it.
And then from there, you got marketing, you got the facts and the details, all those other stuff. But 70% is relationship. I'll tell you this, I get rid of everything. Now, I get in arguments all the time with marketing guys. I'm a marketer too. But I tell people I made tens of millions of dollars based on relationships. I've got people that have been with me for 27 years that when we launch something, they're right there ready. They don't even ask anymore. They don't even care. They're like, if you're behind it, I'm in. And once you build those kind of relationships, you can't fail anymore. Those days are now long past you. And so again, all that to say, you get in the relationship business. Even if I don't care if it's network marketing, any business, figure out a way to build relationships with your customers. Make them feel good. It could be as simple as, figuring out when their birthday is and send them a little message or I randomly will call, like we have big, organizations. I'll randomly go down and call people that normally wouldn't have access to me just to let them know, man, look, for me, everything, it comes in my brain, it hits my heart, then it comes out my mouth.
Yeah. Love
the challenge with most marketers today, and people are seeing through this more and more, hits their brain, comes straight out their mouth or through their copy or whatever it is. And I'm telling you, if you can bring that element in, that's all about relationship. How would you build a relationship? If you wanted to have a wife or a husband, how would you do that? What would you say? That type of thing. How would you treat them? And that's do unto others. I guess there's some old books that were written that tell us exactly how to do all this stuff. It's just figuring it out, to make it fit into our deal. So
dude, that's so good. And you know what? I love that because you don't want to. Oh, you said it. I'm not even going to summarize it. That was so good. I love it, man. Well, guys, John, I just want to thank you so much again for being part of today's show. I know it was a little bit longer than normal, but man, I maybe break it in 2 parts. I don't care. But this is the part where people are supposed to jump off and then the next part. but dude, this has just been such a pleasure. And I just wish you and your wife all the greatest successes. I love your guys' hearts. I love where your head's at. I love the fact, this isn't about, the next $100 million venture. This is about actually really helping people that seriously need help, especially right now in this season. And I can't wait to promote 21-day challenge to folks and really just help them right set, where they are and just to be thinking properly and to have a different attitude, a different belief system about who it is that they are in this season. And so that's brilliant. And to everyone watching, I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. And please make sure that you join us on our next episode. But John, just thank you so much for being part of our show today.
No, I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for having me, man. This was awesome. Keep doing what you do.
Thanks, man. Hello again, eCom Masters. Mike was here again with a big thank you for sticking with us to the end of this episode. I know how valuable your time is, and I want to congratulate you for setting yourself apart from the pack by investing your attention into this podcast. Now, make sure to maximize this time by taking notes while it's still fresh, listening to the episode multiple times if you need to, and implementing what you have learned right away into your own business. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more training and want to learn the step-by-step methodology that you need to build the e-com business of your dreams, I want you to join me for an exclusive invite-only training that I'm only giving specifically for podcast listeners. Now, in it, we're going to share the secrets of what we've used to scale Dropified into the 2019 5,000 number 55 fastest growing company in America. You will not find this information anywhere else, guaranteed. To get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or just click the link below and in the show notes, and I will see you on the other side.